Hey guys, now we're going to continue our discussion of mythic themes and talk about heroes and the heroic journey. This is very likely to be a multi-part video because right now I'm doing this in like 5-minute segments, but it's also the longest portion. So once you get through the heroes and heroic journey portion, you got one more video and then you will be golden on this particular unit. So heroes, big deal. We still talk about them today, and the reason for that is heroes are such a big part of our culture. So remember, culture is a shared set of beliefs, values, and customs. Another word to know is the word ideal, which is a standard of perfection or beauty. It's something that we aspire to. Okay. The reason I give you both of those is because a hero can be defined as this: a figure of great importance and the ideal man or woman of a particular culture. Okay. So the idea there is that if they are a figure of great importance, that means they do something that matters to us. Okay. So let's say I have a story, and the story is about me going down to the store, buying myself a jug of milk. Okay. That is not a particularly heroic story because that does nothing for you. Okay. It doesn't make a difference to our immediate culture. It doesn't make a difference to our culture abroad, like our county or our state or our nation or our world. Like, I'm not really impacting anyone except for the fact that I'm going down and I'm buying myself a jug of milk. Now, if we change that story up a little bit, and let's say that that particular jug of milk has a virus that is in it that, if released into the world, would completely destroy all mankind. And so I go down to Walmart to buy myself that jug of milk, or to get that jug of milk. And in doing so, I fight off like a ton of ninjas and maybe like 15 dragons. I bust in, I get that particular jug of milk, and then I like jettison it into space where it's then sucked into a black hole where it's not going to harm anyone ever again. Now we have a completely different story, because not only did I go down to a store to get myself a jug of milk, but I did that for you, right? That's what makes a hero journey so important, because it's important to us. It changes something about our lives, right? They're also the ideal man or woman of the culture, which means there's somebody that we want to be like, okay? Which means that might completely negate me from heroic conversations for pretty much all of you, right? But what you also need to keep in mind is they are the ideal man or woman for whatever culture is telling that story. So remember, these cultures aren't our culture. So when we're reading these stories or talking about these stories, you might see a hero, but you're like, I don't want to be like that person at all. Like, most of the Norse heroes just are incredibly violent, but they're not heroes to us. They were heroes to them. So remember, they're reflecting that culture. We need to understand that, like, what makes them heroic. And if this is someone that they're saying is the ideal man or woman of their culture, what does that tell us about what they valued? Okay. So that's what a hero is. Next time, we're going to look at something called the heroic journey, and I'll go ahead and tease it here. This is something that's super, super fascinating to me because throughout time, really kind of starting with this man named Joseph Campbell, it was noticed that regardless of what set of cultures you were looking at, what heroes they were talking about, there was like a common denominator that these stories tended to fall into. Okay, this pattern that all the stories fall. And you can look this up and you can find anywhere from, I think the biggest list I ever found was like 201 different stages in the heroic journey. The original core is like 12, and 12 is also my favorite number. And so I'm going to give you 12 of them. And so this is what they look like. Okay, ordinary world, call to adventure, refusal to call, meeting with a mentor. I don't know why I'm reading you this list, but I am. Crossing the threshold, test allies and enemies, approach Amos cave, the ordeal, season reward, road back, resurrection, return with the elixir, which you do not need to write down in its entirety, because we will take each one of those separately. So you will have time to write those down as we get to them. So next time I'm going to walk you through what the first section of this heroic journey looks like. But for now, guys, have a great day, make wise decisions, and as always, Merry Christmas. And now it's going to be awkward because the video is not actually done yet. And so I'm just going to be sitting here looking at you guys as I go to click stop.